Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something really practical.
Yeah, what have we got?
How to start speaking English with confidence, even if you're literally starting from scratch.
Okay, a big challenge.
It is. We've got this 30-day roadmap, and our plan today is to really pull out the key starting points, the things that'll get you moving fast.
Right, a sort of shortcut through the plan,
Yep.
focusing on the essentials.
Exactly. Think of it as the fast track. Maybe you're listening because you need English for studies, for work, or maybe it's just a personal goal you've always had.
Uh-huh. So what's the mission for this deep dive then?
We're going to distill the crucial mindset stuff in the first 15 days. Really focus on those actionable steps to build a solid foundation.
Got it. And this is based on what, like a lesson plan?
Yeah, excerpts from a lesson plan designed specifically for absolute beginners.
Okay, sounds good. Where do we start? Days 1 to 3.
Yep, days 1 to 3. And what hits you straight away is the focus isn't on perfect grammar. It's on mindset, your attitude.
That's so important, isn't it?
Why is that shift, so powerful right at the beginning?
Well, it's often that fear, right? The fear of making mistakes just stops people cold.
Totally.
So this roadmap tackles that directly. There's this great mantra for the first few days. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to get started.
I like that.
And that shift in perspective, it's vital. It helps you get over that hump, that reluctance to even try speaking.
Makes complete sense. So these first 3 days, it's all about listening, soaking it in.
Yeah, a listen first strategy, which is kind of interesting when you think about it.
How so?
It mirrors how babies learn, doesn't it? They just listen for ages before they say anything.
Ah, right. Never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and it's not just passive hearing. Your brain is actually starting to pick out the sounds of English, the phones.
The basic sound.
Exactly, before you even understand the words. It's like you're building the auditory framework for the language, getting used to the rhythm and flow.
So practically, what should you actually listen to? The roadmap mentions songs, short videos.
Yeah, or even listening to the source material itself, if possible. The key is beginner stuff.
Okay, cool.
Blank cartoons can be great. Peppa Pig is often mentioned. Very simple words, clear pronunciation,
Okay.
or beginner YouTube channels. Lots of those now, with slower speech. The goal isn't 100% comprehension yet.
Right.
It's more about getting your ear tuned to the sounds, the flow, the intonation.
Intonation, like the melody of the language.
Precisely, how the voice goes up and down. It carries meaning in English. Getting used to that early on is, well, it's really helpful.
And day 3 has this tip. Watch with English subtitles. Calls it brain training. How does that work?
Ah, yes. It connects what you hear with what you see.
Okay.
Your brain starts linking the spoken sound to the written word. You're not trying to read every single subtitle, especially not yet.
Got it.
It's more about that multisensory thing. Hearing it, seeing it, helps with word recognition, pronunciation, familiarity, that sort of thing.
Okay, so listening is the foundation. Then days 4 to 7, we shift gears a bit toward active learning.
Exactly. Now you start actually learning words, building vocabulary.
And it starts with daily routine words.
Yeah, which is smart, right? Because it's immediately useful. Words like wake up, brush, eat, go, return.
Stuff you do every day.
Precisely. These are the basic building blocks for talking about your day. If you need to tell someone what you did, this is where you start.
And then putting them into simple sentences. Like, I wake up at 7 a.m., I brush my teeth, and it says practice them, like 5 to 10 times.
Yeah, that repetition is key. Super important early on.
Why is that?
It helps embed those words and simple structures in your memory. Saying them out loud actually starts training your mouth, your tongue, the physical act of speaking English.
The muscle memory aspect.
Exactly.
Then it suggests building slightly longer sentences, like I wake up at 6, then I brush and take a shower.
Yep, combining the pieces you've learned.
And speaking aloud, maybe even recording yourself. That sounds a bit scary for a beginner.
It can be, yeah. Recording gives amazing feedback on your pronunciation and flow, but it's maybe not step 1 for everyone.
So what's a less intimidating first step?
Maybe just speak aloud privately. Focus on saying each word clearly. Or repeat after a speaker in a video. The main thing is just starting to make the sounds, activating those speaking muscles. It's different from just understanding.
Right. Okay. Then days 6 and 7 add more words. Family, people, mother, father, friend, neighbor.
Yeah, expanding the topics slightly.
With examples like, my sister goes to school. And again, the advice is make your own sentences using people you know.
That personalization makes it stick, doesn't it?
I guess so.
When you use the words for your life, your family, your friends, you're not just memorizing lists, you're using the language for real communication about things that matter to you.
Makes sense. Creating those 5 sentences helps lock it in.
Definitely.
And day 7 is like a mini review, noting you might know over 25 words and 10 sentences by then.
Yeah, and acknowledging that progress is huge for motivation.
Keeps you going.
Exactly. And that tip about repeating sentences from the earlier days, that really builds confidence. That feeling of, hey, I can actually say things now.
Yeah, that's crucial. Okay, moving into the second week, sort of.
Yeah.
Days 8 to 11, more verbs.
Yep, common ones. Go, come, take, give, make, call. Really useful action words.
With examples, I go to school, I make tea.
Uh-huh. And then there's this little exercise. Create a tiny story, just 3 sentences, using these new verbs.
Interesting. Why a story?
It gets you thinking about how the words connect, how sentences flow together to mean something. It's a gentle nudge towards, like, narrative thinking in English.
Okay, and day 9 has this really practical idea.
Yeah.
Describe what you're doing right now in English.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Like, I am sitting, I am holding my phone, tuning actions into English thoughts.
It makes English immediate, part of your actual moment-to-moment experience. You constantly practice and reinforce words in real time, even just in your head. It's simple, but surprisingly effective for building that habit.
Then, day 10, food. Rice, curry, bread, milk, tea.
Basic food words. Again, super relevant.
And examples. I drink tea in the morning. The idea is to talk about your own meals.
Right. Connects the words to things you actually see and do every day.
Food's universal, right?
Yeah.
Being able to talk about meals is pretty fun mental communication.
True. And day 11 is where the first bit of formal grammar comes in. Present simple.
Yeah, gently introduced. For daily habits and routines.
Explains the structure. Subject plus verb, like he plays cricket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's essential for talking about regular stuff. It explains that basic structure. For I, you, we, the verb is simple, like I go.
Right.
But for he, she, did, you usually add an S. He goes, she eats.
Got it.
The examples make it clear how verbs change depending on who's doing the action. It starts building that grammatical awareness.
Okay, so that takes us up to the last few days of this first half, days 12 to 15. What's next?
Past tense, talking about things that already happened.
The past simple. I went, I ate, I watched. Crucial for telling stories or just saying what you did earlier. Examples like, I watched a movie last night.
And again, the suggestion is practice with simple stories.
Yeah, it provides context. Helps you see how to talk about past experiences. There's that little example story.
Yesterday, I woke up late. I missed the bus. I ran to school.
See? Simple sequence of past actions. Shows how the verbs work together.
And then you're challenged to make your own 3-line past tense story.
Yeah, applying it yourself.
Day 13 touches on negatives, using don't and didn't.
Just a brief intro, yeah. How to say no, or that something didn't happen, like I don't like tea, or I didn't go. Basic but necessary.
And day 14 brings in another tense, present continuous, for actions happening now.
Right, using is, am, are, plus the verb with ing. I am learning. She is cooking.
And the emphasis is really on right now.
Exactly. Describing ongoing actions, it adds another layer, letting you talk about what's happening around you.
And it encourages practicing in real time again, like, I am listening to this deep dive.
Ooh, I am sitting in my room. Yeah. It reinforces the nowness of it. Speaking aloud makes it active, live learning.
And finally, day 15, basic questions.
Yep. Using those key question words, what, where, when, who.
With simple examples. What do you do? I study. Where do you live? I live in Delhi.
Learning to ask and answer basic questions is, that's the start of actual conversation, isn't it?
Absolutely. Those words are the tools you need to start interacting.
So these examples give you a template for those first simple exchanges.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap what we've covered from these first 15 days.
Sounds good.
We started with mindset getting started is key, not perfection. Then that initial listening phase, tuning your ear.
Right, building that foundation.
Then building basic vocabulary, daily stuff, family, food, putting words into simple sentences, practicing them.
Making it relevant and repeating it.
And then dipping our toes into the first bits of grammar. Present simple for habits, past simple for finished actions, present continuous for what's happening now.
And learning how to form those basic negative statements and questions.
Exactly. So this whole first half really lays down a pretty solid practical base, doesn't it?
It really does. It's about getting you started without overwhelming you. Familiarity with sounds, basic structures, core words you need to just begin communicating.
So for you, the listener, this gives a really clear, actionable path for those first, often toughest steps.
Absolutely, a way to build that initial confidence and momentum.
And just as a final thought to leave you with,
Mm-hmm.
think about this. If you consistently apply even these small daily steps, a few minutes listening, a couple of new words, practicing a few sentences,
Yeah.
how could that consistent effort compound over time? Not just for English maybe, but what other skills or areas of your life could benefit from that same kind of steady, step-by-step approach?
That's interesting. Breaking big goals down into manageable daily actions. Definitely something to think about.